Hey guys, it's me, Sam Stein, managing editor at the Bulwark. It is Inauguration Day, which means that in a couple hours, President-elect Donald Trump will become President Donald Trump, and President Joe Biden will become former President Joe Biden. Before President Biden departed the office, he has done a few dramatic things, but I think probably the most dramatic one came this morning, which is that he issued a slew of preemptive pardons. That's pardons for alleged, they're not even alleged crimes, but they're pardons for people who could potentially be in the dragnet of Donald Trump. They were issued to people like Mark Milley, Anthony Fauci, members of the January 6th committee, and their staffers. It's a controversial thing. The reason it's controversial is that it's pushing the legal boundaries of what is permissible for pardons. This is kind of not totally untested territory. Richard Nixon was given a pardon by Gerald Ford, but we don't really have a firm ground for where we are right now on this stuff. But we're also sort of, frankly, in uncharted territory in the other direction too, which is that you have Donald Trump and his allies, among them Kash Patel, the nominee to head the FBI, who've been pretty overt that they want to prosecute or at least go after some of these people. They want to go after Anthony Fauci for how he handled COVID when he was Donald Trump's own top COVID advisor. Let's just be clear. Anthony Fauci was advising Donald Trump. Then he advised Joe Biden. He's come under the microscope for things like his masking policy, his advocacy of the vaccine, how he communicated to the public, how the government was communicating with social media platforms, and so on and so forth. Obviously, General Milley, who was a fierce Trump critic after leaving his post, he's been scrutinized and targeted by Trump and Patel and others. And then, of course, anyone on the J6 committee that includes Liz Cheney and Kinzinger, staffers who did the investigations, they've been accused of things like erasing records, which there is no factual basis for that accusation. But look, if you're on the committee, you are facing the prospect of, a litigious, vengeful president and his staff either going after you, trying to make your life miserable. So there's a intellectual basis for these pardons, even if the legal case for them is disputable. And that's where we're at. This was all rather sudden, it appears, because the early indication from Anthony Fauci, at least, is that, while he is appreciative of the pardon, he didn't really hear about it until like really recently. He told Jonathan Karl this quote, that's ABC's Jonathan Karl. I really, truly appreciate the action President Biden has taken today. On my behalf, let me be perfectly clear. I have committed no crime. You know that, and there are no possible grounds for any allegation or threat of criminal investigation or prosecution of me. He did say he's grateful because this, quote, creates immeasurable and intolerable distress on me and my family. He was referring specifically to politically motivated prosecutions. And that's where we're at. It's like this sort of weird unknown here. Now, Fauci, in theory, and I'm not a lawyer here, but Fauci, in theory, could say he doesn't accept the pardon. I don't think you have to accept the pardon. And under prior practice, the pardon is an admission of guilt. And so Fauci's out there saying, well, I didn't do anything. And Biden, in his own statement, said this is not, me saying they're guilty of anything. In fact, Biden said, quote, these are exceptional circumstances, and I cannot in good conscience do nothing. Baseless and politically motivated investigations wreak havoc on the lives and safety and financial security of targeted individuals and their families, even when individuals have done nothing wrong and in fact have done the right thing and will ultimately be exonerated. The mere fact of being investigated or prosecuted can irreparably damage reputations and finances. So they're not admitting guilt. They insist that they're innocent. This is all politically motivated. Some of these people did not, at least prior to this, did not want pardons. I know Adam Kinzinger, I think Liz Cheney said they don't want pardons.
Would you take a pardon if offered to you? And your answer was?
No.
Why?
No. Because I didn't do anything wrong.
So it's unclear as of now if they're going to accept them. We don't really know if they can reject them. I guess they don't have to accept them, but we don't know, like, for instance, how long they have to accept or reject. Again, we're all in very uncharted territory here, but I think that's in part because we have a incoming president who's been fairly outspoken in his desire to go after these people. I will say this. You can debate whether this is a good or bad thing, a necessary thing, or overly cautious, whatever you want to say. I do think that Biden comes in for some gentle criticism here, at maybe not gentle. It's a bit of a shambolic process. Again, we're in like sort of uncharted territory, so it's unclear if it could have been improved. But the past week has been really it's been shambolic, I think is fair to say. The pardoning of his son Hunter was highly criticized. The sort of declaration last week that the Equal Rights Amendment was now ratified, even though he didn't instruct the archivist to do it. The fact that he had signed the TikTok ban into law but was not going to enforce the law. These preemptive pardons. You begin to see things piling up where you're like, well, if you are the president who respected the rule of law and the fidelity to the law, like, is this the right way to go out of your presidency? And I was reminded via Twitter today that back in 2000, December 2000, so in his transition period, right before he was about to become president, then President-elect Joe Biden said he was concerned about reports that President Trump was considering preemptive pardons for his children, for Rudy Giuliani, and even one for Trump himself. So not much in the way of intellectual consistency. Again, putting it in the context that we have a incoming president who is really pushing the boundaries in terms of using the DOJ or the FBI to go after his political opponents. But it does raise the question of, are we in a place now where this is now just going to become sort of normalized, where the pardon power is just absolutely stretched to its legal limits, if not beyond there, and presidents just, do favors? You can see a real sort of slippery slope if we're not even on it already. And so I think, long term, although nothing ever gets done, but long term, I think lawmakers are going to have to look at reforming the pardon power to make it less of a sort of open gift bag for anyone who wants to get one, right? And I do wonder if the Trump people are going to test the legal permissibility of these pardons that Biden has issued. You could see a future where members of Congress, Republican members of Congress, haul Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, Anthony Fauci, and Milley up to the Hill and question them and say, why did you accept this pardon? You can see a case where someone, maybe not the administration, but an ally of, brings some suit against them to test in court how strong these pardons actually are. And at that point, my expertise really runs dry. I have no clue what will happen. But we wanted to give you this sort of quick bit of breaking news and analysis on the last, we think, major act that President Biden has issued. Going to be an awkward limo ride with him and President Trump around noon today, or a little bit before noon today. Having issued pardons to get ahead of Trump's vengeance, Biden then will sit next to Trump and help him get elected president, or inaugurated, I should say. God, to be a fly on the wall there. Anyways, keep tuning in to what we have here. And as always, do subscribe to our YouTube feed where you can get this type of stuff, assuming you like it. And check back later for more videos today as we take in the inauguration of Donald Trump.